Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Screen. My name is Norma, your host or whatever, and we are talking Challengers. Greatest movie I've seen in such a long time. I can't remember the last movie I saw where it was like every scene felt necessary, right? Like it felt like all of it just fit. It was a little bit long. The weird thing is like it felt long, but like I couldn't tell you what could be cut out or like what could be shortened. Like it was all so interesting, so upbeat. Obviously I listened to a lot of commentary and just like saw a lot of like things coming out. Zendaya mentioning to watch it more than once, and your view of like who's good and bad changes or like who's at fault changes. I'm hyped. I think I'm gonna go try to watch it Monday because my school's closed but my daughter's is not and the daycare is not, so day to myself. I think I'm gonna go watch it again. But anywho, yeah, it was just jam-packed. I guess the style of it is like what a tennis match would be with the 3 sets, and so it's kind of like these 3 moments in time for them. We start out basically the end of it all at the beginning of the movie. It's Zendaya's character Tashi watching the match between Pat and Art, and it's just kind of this like you're watching everyone's heads back and forth. It's just so good. It's like a real tennis match. You don't know what tennis is, or I've watched it, but you're sitting there enthralled, just like what's going on. I'm watching too. Like it's just so stinking good. You can see there's tension. You can see Art looking at Tashi, looking at Pat, and being like, you know, like you can see him getting messed up about it. All of that. Then we are brought back in time to 2006 to like 07-ish, and they are all, I think, high school seniors, I would assume. They're in the junior US Opens. She's, you know, playing solo women's. They are playing the junior doubles. They win the junior doubles for the US Open. They go to watch her, and Pat is telling Art about how awesome this girl is. Like, not only is she amazing at tennis, she's fine. Like, she's just the perfect woman. Tashi comes out. They're both enthralled, just watching her, staring at her every move, watching her play tennis. They're so impressed. She wins, of course. So then we move into the Adidas party. There's like a nighttime Adidas party. They're there. Tashi gets there. They're watching her hang with friends. They're watching her dance. And this is so funny to me because when I was watching the movie, I was like, why is she dancing like that? It was Nelly's Hot in Here, and she was like... I was like, this is not to the beat, and Zendaya can dance. Like, what's happening here? But then I saw an interview where she was like, that was not the song I was dancing to. So I guess they like put Hot in Here after the fact. I also saw someone showing how like product sponsorships were just like placed into it, like drinks they were holding, cigarettes they smoke, like different things like that. I'm assuming that's like the song changed, not advertisement, but you know, and they had to change the song. They wind up talking to Tashi. Then they wind up meeting with her like from the beach, and they are just kind of talking and I think drinking, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they're talking about like their hopes, their dreams, what tennis means to them. Art points out how at the end of Tashi's match, she was like, she yelled this like, come on, and he was just like, I'd never heard anything like it. Like, I guess they're supposed to be like that passion. Y'all, I forgot to mention my I told you sweater. I didn't have the shirt. I didn't have a gray shirt. I also didn't have black cricket paper, or vinyl. But I did it. You're hating because you don't have one. Anywho, yeah, back to the movie. Yeah, so they're talking up, and you know, she's like, yeah, she talks about how tennis is like a relationship. It's like you're in a relationship when you're in a match. Just kind of like for that one moment, you're the only 2 people who get what's happening, and yada yada. Beautiful. Made me want to play tennis. This whole movie, I want to be a tennis player. So they basically tell her like, hey, we'll be in our hotel room if you want to come through. And so then we fast forward to the hotels. They're in there. Art is like, she ain't coming. Like, why do you think she coming? Their room is sting a mess, very boy-like, very teenage boy-like. But she knocks on the door. She shows up. They're scrambling, pushing things under the bed, trying to make it look clean. She comes in. They're drinking. They're talking. She asks them, have they done anything? Because they talk about how they've been playing together since they were 12. So I guess they both come from like well-off families, and their families just kind of dumped them in a boarding school to go do. I forgot to mention, they ask her for her number, like, before inviting her to the hotel, and she's like, I'm not a homeworker. And they're like, no. And, you know, Art's like, Pat got a girlfriend, whatever. He's like, it's not a girlfriend, exactly, whatever. So she comes to the hotel room, whatever, and she's, like, asking them, like, have they ever done anything? And so they mentioned how when they were, like, 12, Art didn't know what, like, pleasuring yourself was. So Pat shows him, like, how to do it. Like, they're not touching or anything, but they're, like, on their own beds, doing their own things, thinking about the same woman. This is the story they give her. She gets up, she sits on the bed. This is the scene we all see in the trailer, the scene everyone was obsessed with and thought that this movie was going to be about, but it's so much more than that. Also, this director is so good at creating sexual tension without any actual sex. I love that for them. I think it's really dope when you can create that feeling without having to see people naked and bumping, you know? I'm just saying. So yeah, she gets on the bed, gets them to start making out with her. She's making out with him. She's making out with him. Then she gets them to make out, and she leans back, and she's just like, yes. And then she's like, all right, time for bed. I'm leaving. And they're like, wait, what about your number? And she's basically like, whoever wins tomorrow, because they're playing against each other tomorrow, whoever wins gets my number, right? So we move into tomorrow. Pat is messing with Art's head, and Pat ends up winning. So we move forward. We have Art asking Pat if him and Tashi did anything, like what level did they get to? And he's like, you can tell me without telling me, just like serve the ball in a certain way. Pat tells Art he has a tick. He puts the ball at the neck of the racket. So like right where the circle ends and it eats, and he does that right before every serve. So Art is like, I didn't know I did that, but perfect. Do that if you slept with her. So he does it. We see Art's face shift for a moment, basically being upset about it. So we move forward to the following, I guess, like school year. Tashi and Art are now at Stanford together, and Pat is like playing tennis, playing pro. Tashi and Pat are dating, to Art's surprise. I don't think he thought that it would last. He invites Tashi to come eat with him at the, like, you swipe your card for meals at the cafeteria. And they are talking, and he's just kind of like, I'm just surprised you guys are still together. And she's kind of like, what? Is he, like, cheating on me or something? Do you know about something? And he's like, no, I just am surprised. Like, I didn't think he would be that serious about it, yada, yada, yada. She gets pissed. She tries to act like she's not upset. At one point, he's like, no, I just don't know that he's in love with you. And she's like, who said I wanted someone to be in love with me? Then we have Pat show up to visit both of them, clearly. He goes to see Art first, and honestly, from jump, there's just this like chemistry about these two, Pat and Art. He like gets there, he's like chasing him around the court. It's very reminiscent of like young love, when you're like, like being cutesy and chasing each other and you're lifting her up. Like, that's what they were giving. It was like a weird balance between that and a bromance of like, we're just bros, we're just like beating each other up and jumping each other, but there was still just a chemistry there. Even we see that even more because after this they go to the like cafeteria. What the hell is it called? They go to the cafeteria, and they're getting food. Pat's already sitting down eating a churro, and as soon as Art's like walking up to sit, he takes his foot and slides the stool closer to him so that Art is sitting closer to him. Like, y'all can't tell me that wasn't like a little chemistry moment. What guy do you, like, I've never seen Cameron pull a chair closer to him when one of his friends came to sit. Like, that's not the vibes. It's not the vibes. There's vibes here. And then he like gives him the churro, and he like takes a big bite like super close to you guys. There's chemistry there. Don't tell me there's not when there is. Art tries to mess with Pat's head and being like, I just don't think she loves you as much as you think she does. I don't think she's as invested as you think she is. And Pat's like, dude, I know what you're doing, and I love it because I would too, you little savage. Like, he's just loving Art's little like feisty side, because honestly throughout this whole thing we get Art like little lost puppy dog in love. Like, he gives innocent, and for a while I was like, poor thing, but then I was like, nah, he a dog too, because first of all, you lost fair and square, and they started dating. Let it go. Why are you still pursuing her? Like, that's your best friend. 1, 2. Him trying to mess with the both of their heads. That's my lost puppy dog. That's a Rottweiler. I'm done. Why am I like this? Anywho, yeah. So he tries to mess with their heads. So then after Pat hangs with him, he goes to see Tashi, But Tashi starts giving unsolicited tennis advice. He's kind of like, babes, I don't see you as a coach. I don't see you as a teammate. I see you as a peer, like my girlfriend, like what you doing. And she's like, all right, well, whatever then. And she goes, and basically he's like, look, if that's what you want, go get you an Art. Art go kiss your feet, kiss the ground you walk on, do whatever you tell him to. That's not me. That's not who I'm gonna be. And gooped and gagged she is, baby. She's like, oh, Sean's played off. She says some other nonsense. Yeah, they basically argue. She's like, oh, my match or whatever. And he's just like, not going. Tashi is at her match. She's looking into the audience. She's not seeing him. It's also really dope. A lot of the like choices, the camera choices, the angle choices, the shots, so good. Like in this one, it's just one of like, just the whole, I can't wait to watch it again to see it all again. But it's like a first person view, like if you're her looking up, like it's this like scanning the crowd thing that you experience. Like it's so cool, and they do a lot of that. There's like the glass floor vibe where you're watching them play and it looks like they're like playing above you, like it's a glass floor. Just like really, really cool. The movie all around is so well put together and so stinking good. The fashion, the way that they, I could keep going, but I won't. During this match, Tashi is injured. She twists, turns, crackles, pops her knee. It's bad. It's ugly. It's traumatic. And yeah, so Art like jumps out of the bleachers, runs to her. He's sitting with her. Pat comes running in to show up, and she's like, get out. And Art's like, get the fuck out, Pat. And that's that on that. We fast forward to 2009. I believe they're in like either like third year at college or out of college. I'm assuming out of college. Art and Tashi meet up. She is now like coaching a player because tennis is her life. And he is playing tennis on the way up. He's doing his thing. And he basically asks her to be his coach. She's kind of like, is that a good idea? He's like, well, I want you to be my coach because you're good, but I do like you. I ain't gonna hold you on that. So they make out. So now they start a relationship and also a professional relationship, a coaching relationship. We are fast forwarded again to 2011. Throughout this, we're kind of being like pushed. So we're between like the present and then the timeline of the past. So like we have like, we get the 06, 07 storyline, then we're back in the present, which is where set 2 kicks in and Pat starts losing. Pat was winning in set 1, as we see. He wins Tashi, all of that. And set 2, he starts to lose. Hence, we're in 2010, where Art and Tashi get together. And then we are in our last flashback, which is 2011. Art and Tashi are engaged. Art's career is on the rise. We run into Pat. Pat runs into her. They wind up having a one-night stand. And we do witness Art seeing them sitting together and then gone. So we can assume that he knows, or at least is like, yeah, duh, that's what happened, but doesn't confront anyone about it. So now we are in the present. I believe we're fully done with the flashbacks. I think we, throughout somewhere in this, we get the flashback of Art, like seeing them leaving when they have the one-night stand. But that's about it. So like I said, 2019 has been sprinkled throughout like the present day. And so Art and Tashi are married. They have a daughter, Lily. Tashi's mom kind of travels with them to help with Lily. And basically Art had an injury, but he has like bounced back, like he's fully healed, able to play like he did before. So obviously there's a lot of like jealousy in that for Tashi. Because she says things like, you know, I wish I had the recovery that you had. Like, where's your confidence? Like, what the heck is going on? It's clear that Art wants to retire or just like isn't into tennis like he used to be, or like Tashi wants him to be. But he's holding on to it because he knows that that's kind of what's holding them together, what's holding his wife together. Tashi decides to enter Art in as a wild card in a challenger in New Rochelle, New York, something like that. Where we also find out that Pat is also there. Pat is struggling, living out of his car, ain't got no money, all of this stuff. But his parents are rich, mind you. Like, rich kids are weird. Because, baby, before I'm struggling, I'm like, all right, whatever. Come on, Dad, let me work for you. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not living out of my car and being poor as shit for no reason. That's crazy talk. Mind you, it's kind of clear that he could work for his dad and also do these challengers, but whatever. So now we are in the last set of the match, and we're getting, like, kind of present day flashbacks, so like things that are happening throughout this match happening, because I guess it happens over a course of days or so. But yeah, so Tashi and Pat run into each other. He basically is like, I can tell you ain't happy, girl, but if you want to be my coach, here's my number. She doesn't throw the number away. She takes the number. So that tells us all we need to know. Basically, Art ends up telling Tashi that he wants to retire whether he wins this open or not. I guess basically he has to win this open to have a career grand slam, whatever that means in tennis. And he's kind of like, whether I win or not, look, I'm quitting. And it seems like she probably wants him to keep going if he didn't win to get that grand slam, whatever. And he's basically begging her to tell him it's going to be okay. She's like, I ain't going to tell you that. She's like, if you want to quit, cool, but I ain't telling you that. And then he's like, what happens if I lose tomorrow? And she's just like, I'll leave you. So he turns into puppy dog Art. He's like, just hold me one more time. She holds him. He falls asleep. And then she leaves to go meet up with Pat. She asks Pat to throw the match because Art needs it for his confidence. I think she thinks if he wins that he'll keep going. But he's made it clear to her that he doesn't want to anymore. And she's struggling with that. Her and Pat end up fighting in the middle of what seems like a freaking hurricane tornado situation. Like, why are you guys outside? Go inside. He's asleep. You could go have this discussion in like the bathroom of the hotel or something. Like, girl, get another room. It's fine. What's going on? Anywho, she ends up spitting in this man's face and he likes it. They end up making out and doing what they do. So we love that for them. Pat basically starts throwing the match. Then he signals to Art that he slept with Tashi by putting the ball on the neck of the racket like he did the last time. Art sees this and basically lets Pat catch up so that they're tied, and then they start to play a real game. And so that's where we were at in the beginning of the movie, the back and forth, everyone watching intensely. So it's this huge match. They're getting closer to the net, closer and closer and closer. They both jump up and then they like fall into a hug. Basically, like, Art like falls onto Patrick and then they're like hugging and laughing, and then Tashi's like, come on, and, like she's like happy about it. So I guess we're supposed to see that she like manipulated the situation to get them to be friends again, because she when she meets Art in 2009, he mentions that they don't really talk anymore, him and Pat, and she's like, wow, so I really was a homewrecker. So I don't know, maybe I don't know what we're supposed to assume, because that's how it ends. It's like they're like embraced and everybody, like, they all look happy about it. Needless to say, this movie was so freaking dope. I 1000% recommend it to everyone to watch. I don't care what kind of movies you like. Like, this will be so interesting to you if anything else. If it's not like your type of like romantic comedy, like, it's so freaking good, and it's so much more than that kissing scene. So much more, I promise you. Also, if you've already watched it, definitely watch it again. I'm gonna go watch it again for sure. I'm out. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below what you thought. I want to know like what your favorite part about this was, because like I said, there's so much goodness in how it was made, in the actual storyline, in scenes, and all of that. So I want to hear all the things. Comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.